Hey, Mike with No Problems Gaming here. In today's video, we'll be covering another huge Nintendo Switch eShop sale and 10 more great games worth buying, so let's get into it. The first game is LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. Now this is a great action-adventure game that spans across all 9 Star Wars movies, and you can play through all of your favorite Star Wars locations and scenes. There's over 20 planets to explore, over 300 playable characters, and over 100 different vehicles and ships to play as throughout your journey. There's also some light RPG elements as you can upgrade and enhance your characters. There's tons of unlockables and a fun sense of humor along with the gameplay. It's definitely fun for the whole family, and I think if you're a LEGO fan or a Star Wars fan, this game is a must-play. The next game is G.I. Joe Wrath of the Cobra. And this game is a retro-inspired arcade beat-em-up set in the G.I. Joe universe. And you'll play as classic G.I. Joe heroes like Duke, Scarlet, Roadblock, Snake Eyes, and more as they take on a new threat from Cobra. Now as you play through the game, you'll find that each player has a bit of a different play style to them. Still relatively similar mechanics that you'll have a light attack, a heavy attack, a jump kick attack, and there's also plenty of different weapons that you can find along the way. There's also several modes to the game, lots of things to unlock, a great soundtrack as well. Now I will say it's maybe not as polished as some other great beat 'em up games that have come out recently, such as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, but I still think it's a solid beat 'em up entry. And I think if you are a G.I. Joe fan and you like beat 'em up games and you're able to pick it up on a discount like it's on sale right now, could be definitely worth picking up as well. The next game is Dream Tactics. Now this is a unique tactical RPG that combines tactical RPG combat with some deck building mechanics. And you'll play as a young girl, Nehru, as she puts together a team of ragtag heroes to try and defeat the evil Pillow Legions and to save the dream world. And so it's kind of a fun over-the-top story, but it also incorporates some fun gameplay mechanics. And as I said, you'll be able to create different decks for your hero, and these kind of reflect the class type that your characters are. So they'll have decks centered around warriors and wizards and cavalry type units. And there's also some ability where you can even mix and match different cards from the different sets, kind of giving you a custom feel to your deck, which is really cool. It has an old school vibe to it as well, feeling like similar titles from the Fire Emblem series coming out in the GBA era. And I think if you like tactical RPGs, this is a fun one worth checking out as well. The next game is the Lost Castle Deluxe Edition. Now this is a fun roguelike beat 'em up with some light RPG elements, and you'll play through this game playing as random treasure hunters turned heroes as you try and raid an abandoned castle full of demons and monsters in search of treasure. And it has a really fun art style, it's very cartoonish, and it has a great sense of humor throughout the game. And you'll also notice that as you acquire different weapon types and different armors, that will change the look of your hero, which is pretty fun. And each one of these armor styles and weapon types also have their own sort of play style and feel to them as well. So for example, you'll have more close-up melee weapons like swords and axes and spears and various things like that. And then you'll also have some long-range options, more ranger type weapons, so different kinds of bows and arrows. And then there's also different spell casting weapons like different magic wands and staffs and more. And so depending on the loadout of your character, that can influence the gameplay, where again, you might get some really beefy armors that have really high defense and really boost up your HP, but then there might be other armors where you can move really fast, or other armors that pump up your magic ability, causing your spells to do more damage. And so you'll be able to find these different combinations each time through your run. And so it's fun mixing and matching these and finding the best combinations to fit your playstyle. There's also the roguelike element, so every time that you die, you'll respawn back in the castle and need to try it again. But there is kind of a shared skill tree among all your characters, and this you can progressively level up and giving yourself a better head start each time you run through the dungeons. And this is a great couch co-op beat 'em up game that I would definitely recommend. And so again, if you like beat 'em up games with a fantasy theme and great roguelike elements, this one's a must play as well. The next game is Beneath Oresa. Now this game is a roguelike deck building game meets turn-based RPG. Now the plot is rather light in this game, but at first glance you'll see that you are playing as different fighters in arena-based combat taking place deep within a hidden underground arena beneath the city. And so to survive, you'll need to choose your fighter effectively, their factions and their abilities, and effectively build out your deck in hopes to survive this arena combat. And now with this game, each character has their own unique play style and different decks of cards specific to them and their factions. And so you'll need to eventually power up these cards as you progress, acquiring new ones, even upgrading cards, getting more powerful versions of some cards that you may already have in your deck. And you'll also need to balance your move set and abilities within your deck with the arena combat. And so there's different areas you'll be fighting in, kind of like a front row and a back row within the arena. And so you'll need to plan accordingly and develop your strategy and your deck as a whole as you progress through each run if you hope to survive. The gameplay is super addictive, and I think if you like deck building games and turn-based RPGs, you'll like this one as well. The next game is the Moonlighter Complete Edition. Now this is a great roguelike action RPG meets shopkeeper sim with extremely addictive gameplay. And you'll play as a young shopkeeper / adventurer Will as he tries to rebuild his small village and uncover the mysteries of some dimensional gates just outside of town that lead to some monster-filled dungeons. Now the gameplay loop is super fun and addictive, where by night you'll be dungeon diving and collecting goods and items that you find, and then by day you'll need to effectively sell these in your shop. And then you'll use these funds to get better equipment for your hero, to more effectively dungeon dive at night, or also build up your shop and even rebuild the village as a whole, attracting new merchants to town and much more. And so it's a really fun gameplay loop. And running your shop is a lot of fun, where you'll need to stop thieves, set prices, check out guests and more. And when it comes to the combat, that's really fun too, as it's more of a top-down dungeon crawler, similar to the classic Legend of Zelda titles. This is definitely one of my favorite roguelike RPGs, and I highly recommend it. The next game is 30XX. Now this is a fast-paced roguelike action platformer, very similar to the Mega Man X series. And the storyline is not very robust, but you play as different androids, Nina and Ace, after they have awoken from a 1,000-year slumber, and they've discovered that the reality of the world is really distorted and kind of destroyed by this synthetic mind that has taken over, and you go on a quest to stop it. Now there's a few different modes to the game. One is going to feel more like that Mega Man style game where you'll have a stage select option and you can choose from the different levels, and it does have that roguelike element, but your progress is saved between runs, and so you can take on all these different bosses in that fashion. But there's also a full-on roguelike mode which has these Mega Man-like elements, but also a lot of great fun and addictive roguelike elements as well. There's multiple playable characters that you can choose from. Like I mentioned, you can play as either Nina or Ace, which kind of have that Mega Man / Zero feel to them, where one is more of a ranged character and the other one is more melee focused. There's multiple weapons that you can find and unlock after you defeat bosses. It also has a cool co-op mode. And so I think if you like the Mega Man series and fast-paced action platformers, you'll enjoy this one as well. The next game is the Roguebook Deluxe Edition. And Roguebook is a roguelike deck-building turn-based RPG with some tabletop RPG elements mixed in as well. And so you'll play as several different heroes that get sucked up into a magic book and need to find their way out and defeat the enemies and bosses within if they hope to escape. And so when the game starts, you'll choose from 2 different heroes to play as, and each one of these characters really has a different play style and feel and deck to them as well. And it's really cool to try out these different combinations where some characters are going to be more aggressive melee, warrior type characters. Other characters are going to be more healers. There's one character that's sort of like a tank and has great defenses along with attacks. And so there's even more as well, but you'll need to mix and match these and create kind of cool combinations to see how these decks play off of each other. And another really fun part of this is the exploration. And so each new area is like a blank page on this book, And as you move your characters, almost like a board game board, the board is slowly revealed and you'll find all kinds of different things there. Some of them could be new items that you'll get, new cards for your characters, stores where you can buy new cards, enemy fights, treasures, and much more. And so it's really fun exploring every run and kind of uncovering this map and seeing what you'll find. It also has the RPG element where you can level up your characters eventually. Well, they'll get more powerful and add upgraded cards to their deck. And then you'll also be adding these new cards as you progress through your run. And so you'll need to effectively balance this deck building mechanic with leveling up your characters and choosing the right combinations of cards and how they play off each other to really hope to get out alive. It's very addictive. It's one of my favorite deck building games, and I definitely recommend it. The next game is Six Souls. Now this is a fast-paced action platformer with some puzzle elements and has kind of a similar feel to Celeste or Super Meat Boy. And you'll play as Jack and his dog Butch as they go on a quest to uncover the mystery of Clifford Castle in hopes of finding out what happened and discovering the great treasure hidden within. And so you'll be journeying across 80 puzzle-filled levels with 8 different locations, each with a different feel and puzzle takes on them. There's challenging boss fights as well as some fun mechanics as you'll be playing as both Jack and his dog on this adventure. And each one of them have their own unique abilities as well as collectibles to find throughout your journey. It's obviously on the cheaper end of games, so I think it's great for what it's worth. And I think if you like action platforming puzzle games like Celeste or Super Meat Boy, you'll enjoy this one as well. The final game on today's list is Quest of Dungeons. Now this is a roguelike dungeon crawler with a retro pixel art style, and you'll be playing as several different heroes as you try and restore the light of the world after it was stolen by an evil dark lord. And so with this game, there's multiple playable character types that you can choose from. So characters like the warrior, the wizard, assassin, or shaman, and each one of these really have their own unique feel and playstyle with them as well. And it is sort of a mystery dungeon style game. And so if you aren't familiar with that, how that works is that basically every step that you take will activate different enemies around the board in conjunction with every step and action you take. And so you need to be really strategic with how you move around. These dungeons are also procedurally generated, so you never really know what's coming. And so I think that's a cool element as well. And it does have some great RPG mechanics to it as you progress through the game. So you'll be leveling up your character, finding new items and abilities and equipment, and much more. There's challenging bosses, and there's also multiple difficulty settings to the game, giving you some additional replay value if you'd like a harder challenge. And I think if you're looking for a fun, roguelike, mystery dungeon style dungeon crawler, this one's worth checking out as well. But again, that wraps up our list of this latest Nintendo Switch eShop sale and 10 more great games worth buying. Let us know in the comments below if you've played any of these before. What's your thoughts on these games? Are there any other great deals we missed that we should be checking out? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you like this video, be sure to hit that like button as it really helps out the channel. And another really cool way you can help support the channel is we actually partnered with a company, Geek Crate, that puts together various bundles. So whether you like things like Harry Potter, Pokemon, Naruto, Marvel, and more, they've got different bundles for everything. They have a subscription service you can take advantage of, or buy just one-time bundle packs of various items. And so if you did want to check that out and help support the channel, head to nerdproblemsgaming.com/Geek Crate, and you'll actually get 15% off your order and help support our channel at the same time. So if you want to take advantage of that cool discount, be sure to head there as well. And if you like videos like this on video games, board games, and everything nerdy, check out one of our other videos here. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notifications to get the latest updates of new nerd videos we put out. But once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you more soon.